Nothing's different from a regular Olympics that you see on TV and Special Olympics. They have the same exact experience.
Okay.
And what they have built into the program as well is you have a little bit of cultural exchange. So Special Olympics is worldwide. So for the North America, we're in the North America region. So that contains Canada and the US and the Caribbean. So for the North American region, they would say North America gets 1,500 slots. Out of the 1,500 slots, I'm going to give you 20 for bocce, 300 for track. And they're going to specify. But what they also do is they also specify which gender and which levels. I'm a Harry Potter fan. Like, I'm the biggest.
What house are you?
Hufflepuff.
Look at his face. No, I mean,
Welcome back to the Fanatic Islanders, your home for sports and sports entertainment. We have another Sandbar Sitdown, another little cooking segment, releasing later this year. Stay tuned.
Oh, wow.
But we have Miss Johnneice Blyden, Special Olympics volunteer extraordinaire, who has traveled to Nebraska, Los Angeles, Abu Dhabi, Puerto Rico.
You sound like she rich.
Greece, and most recently Berlin for not only the Special Olympics, but Special Olympics Bahamas. Thank you for being on the show today.
Thanks for having me.
So that whole intro that we had just now, I need the recipe for the cookies in the air fryer because I did not know that was possible. I know certain things are possible, but thank you for coming on the show today. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule.
I'm happy to be here.
What do you have going on? What's up?
So I am, like you said, I dubbed myself the volunteer extraordinaire for Special Olympics Bahamas. I've been involved in the program from 2008 when I returned back to Nassau from, I guess, college, and I lived in Eleuthera for a little bit. So once I came home to Nassau, I got involved with the program. So I started off just as a volunteer. I did transportation. Well, Special Olympics is nonprofit, so we have no paid position. So all of the persons that are involved in our organization are volunteers. So first I started off with transport. I would pick up athletes from one training session and take them to the next training session. Eventually that sparked my interest in the sport of bocce. And you guys are sports enthusiasts. Do you know what bocce is? Ever heard of it?
I just found out you could bake an air fryer. So
yeah. So bocce, since you're a sports enthusiast, it's the closest thing I can say. It's like curling.
Okay.
You're familiar with curling.
Yeah, you got it.
But it's not on ice and the target moves. So it's basically lawn bowling. A lot of Italians. It's an Italian sport, but
that's croquet.
No, you're talking that's croquet. They use it's balls. They use balls. Some of them look like short putts, and then one looks like a cue ball. So you have a cue ball.
Where have I seen this before? No, you thinking?
You've seen games being played. Yeah. I'm quite sure if you see it. Some countries call it bowls, but it's called bocce. And I've been a bocce coach from about 2009.
Okay.
So we have bocce is one of the biggest sports in Special Olympics because everybody can participate. It doesn't matter how young you are. It doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter your ability. You are able to participate. So I started off as a bocce coach, and then eventually turned into head coach, turned into technical coach of the sport. And from there, I've been involved in our athlete leadership program. I've also I do a lot of behind the scenes work, a lot of the paperwork that goes into traveling to games and getting team management done, registration for World Games, registration for anything. I worked with Special Olympics International with their games management system. That's how I got to Nebraska. And I also was a games management support team member at the Special Olympics World Games in Athens, Greece. That was in 2011. So I have a little bit of, I guess, connections there up at Special Olympics International with that. And other than that, my traveling roles have been with the Bahamas delegation, Special Olympics Bahamas, as either assistant head of delegation or head of delegation. So in layman's terms, I would be like the team manager or the assistant team manager when we travel. So that's been my role, or some of the roles I played over, I guess, the past 15 years that I've been involved.
All right. So my question is, what was that it moment for you, or what was the moment for you for, I guess, when you came back home and you was like, okay, you want to get involved with this, or how did you get involved with it?
So how did I get involved? Well, long story short, special needs, special education, inclusion has always been a part of me, I guess, a part of my family. Mm-hmm. My grandmother was a special educator. I'm a special educator. I went to school in Canada, in Halifax, Nova Scotia. Went to St. Mary's. Woo-hoo. Big up to the Huskies. But while I was there, I had an opportunity to volunteer with Special Olympics there as well. So okay. I think that was my first experience of what Special Olympics was. When I was younger, I don't remember Special Olympics so much. Now that I'm in the program, I can remember some of the athletes doing like equestrian, and I know them because now they're my friends, right? So I've been involved. So when I came back, I was like, hold on. I work at a special school. Y'all have a Special Olympics program? I was like, yeah. And I was like, okay, that's it. And for me, it's the athletes. I call it the Special Olympics bug. It's like a mosquito bite. Once you get bitten, like that's it.
You get dengue.
You get dengue.
You can't say that.
You get the Special Olympics. You turn into a zombie then.
People
you turn into
like you can't say that.
A Special Olympics zombie. Once you get bitten by the bug, you're
You can say cool, but you can't say dengue.
I think Bo just is bad. I get canceled again. But.
Yeah. So the love from the athletes, the genuine, I guess, the feel of it, just knowing that you make a difference in their lives. I think that's it for me. And then on top of that, you give the athletes a platform. A lot of persons would come up to me after, I don't know if you guys were aware, we had our first exhibition race of Special Olympics at the Carifta Games this year. So we have had athletes participate in front of the country.
Okay. And
for me, it was a great feat because it was showcased on a bigger level. So persons came up, oh, I didn't know your athletes were so fast. And I was like, you've been running sub 26 like for the last 5 years. Where y'all been? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When we have competitions or exhibitions and we're trying to get the public to come out and we don't get that support, but I know he could run sub 26 in it too.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I've known that. I've seen that. I've seen him run on the world stage and get gold medals and people cheering for him. And they look at him, oh, I didn't know he could run that fast. Like, he needs to train. And I'm like, yeah, but we've been asking for volunteers and we've been asking for coaches to come and
Bahamas.
assist us.
You can't say
You can't say that. You can't say that.
I get it. You can say that.
You can't.
No, because like you got more global recognition than you do have local recognition. So like you
of
have,
course.
so like you said, you could watch him on the global stage, but having it actually home is like, oh well, I didn't know you did that. Well, the people outside of home have seen it. So who
correct.
Me and
yeah, it is, and it's that way across the Caribbean. I feel as well.
So with Special Olympics, just tell us a little bit about, I guess, some of the differences, if any, from all the other games that you were competing in. Like, is there any short list of sports or any particular like style of scoring that they do? Because sub 26 is actually really good for the 200. So are they incredible? Are they? Yeah. So like all the athletes like that, or are they like grouped individually? Like, how does that work?
Okay, so Special Olympics, the mission statement of Special Olympics is to provide year-round sports training in Olympic type sports. So most of the sports that we compete in are Olympic type. We do have, what makes Special Olympics different is we try to make it equitable. So that means that most of our athletes are divisioned. So persons like me, I don't run. I'm not a runner. But if my country would select me to participate, and just say if I ran the 800 meters and my time was 4 minutes to run the 800 meters, I would be divisioned according to my age, gender, and gender meaning male or female, and my time, right? So once they would put me in a category where most persons around my age, gender, are running around 4 minutes. So we all will run together, and then based on that time, you will be placed in a race, and then whoever comes first to 8th place will get opportunity to medal.
Okay.
So all of my sub 26 athletes would run together. They won't put a sub 26 athlete running with a sub 30 athlete.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
So that's what makes it different. But other than that, everything else is kind of standard across the board. Commercial. Everything else is standard across the board. And we at Special Olympics Bahamas participate in 5 sports. Bocce, we do athletics, we do bowling. We also have a soccer program, there's swimming, and there is tennis. There's 6 programs. Did I say basketball? We have a basketball program as well. And then currently we're spread out across 3 islands. So New Providence, Grand Bahama, and Abaco. We used to have 2 sub-programs in Exuma and Eleuthera as well. But at present time, they're not functioning.
Yeah, okay. What, I guess, is the hardest part of what you do?
Now, right now, I think the hardest part for us as an organization is getting more athletes involved. So to be involved, you have to be at least 8 years of age and have been diagnosed with an intellectual disability.
Okay.
And that would mean anybody on like autism scale or anybody that has been diagnosed with a cognitive disability. So getting more persons to expose their special need athletes to something. So getting more athletes participating, getting more coaches involved, and just getting more exposure. I think that's been very difficult in terms of what's difficult for us. But everything else is, I guess, second nature. I guess once we have the athletes, once we have the coaches, everything else is easy.
Oh, do you feel like there's a particular event, I guess, that is like, when you look at the event itself, you feel like, oh, this is pretty intense. So you like hold back, but you see somebody still trying to participate in it and just do their best. Like, is there a event that comes to mind?
All of them. No, it's the thing is once you they're all athletes. They're all athletes. They would give 110% all the time. It's just sometimes you have, okay, for example, this year in Berlin, we had a situation. So, how can I say it? We had a situation where a lot of our athletes, there was this new rule, and a lot of our athletes got disqualified for something what is now called over-level performance. So, if I were to submit time, so what you would do is registration, and I was responsible for that as well. So we would submit registrations, say almost six months to a year out, maybe a year out.
Okay.
So they're asking you for times in October. Your games aren't until June of the next year. Then they ask you for an update of times in February. So, maybe a little 3-second drop in time, but everybody's still around that same time. So you have athletes, new environment. So they run out of blocks. If they're swimming, they jumping off of blocks. They have perfect conditions. They're in their cleats, their spikes, ready to go. You have competition as well. So now your athletes are ready, adrenaline ready. Everybody's cheering, like big arenas. So you're talking about Olympic stadiums and everywhere that everybody else would have participated. So, and they're full to capacity. People are cheering you on, and you drop time. You drop almost a minute off your time for us. I had one athlete drop almost a minute off her time for a swim. I had an athlete drop almost 30 seconds off a run. And because you did better than your score, you just got disqualified for over level. So you overdid your time, right? You overperformed. You were too good.
That's like being overqualified to work in Nassau.
Technically. So now for me, it was, how do I now explain to my athlete that I'm telling you, do your best. And I want nothing from you but the best. That, hey, your best was too good. So this is why you came first, but you got disqualified.
So world records and stuff don't exist.
No.
Olympics?
I think not based on how it sounds like based on how the structure and based on how you're divisioned.
Yeah, you're not. It doesn't. So you have those things where, okay, you got a time, and I'm looking at the time. I was like, wow, like he really improved. And like he comes to me like, yeah, I'm gonna run again. And no, honey, you can't run again because you've been disqualified for over level. And the thing is, imagine me explaining that to someone of normal cognitive ability. Now I'm trying to explain that to someone who can't process that. And now you as a coach or head of delegation now has to make that decision. Well, how do we avoid this not to happen again? What do you tell them? Hold back. Don't run as fast.
Not even.
Don't swim as fast.
It's not even that.
How do you make that? But then there's rules. You follow the coaches out. There's a Special Olympics has it built in, so you don't have that the buffering. That's why they had the division in. And I guess before they would have had persons who would hold back, and then they get into a better heat, and then they come into the heat and then bust out, and obviously they get the gold medal. And so that's what I guess the division in was trying to avoid. But now it's like over level. So even if I came out at over level, they should have put them in another division and say,
just go with the times.
Just go with the times. But that's been something we've been fighting for. I don't know if we're going to get the results. We did do a petition while I was in Germany. It was the most stressful games ever. Mm-hmm. We did get our athletes to get bumped up. What happened was they just bumped everybody up a category.
Okay.
But that necessarily didn't help.
So would that be avoided, I guess? I mean, because I guess you would have done the times here. Mm-hmm. Would that be avoided if we have more? I guess it goes back to exposure, right? And we packed the national stadium. We packed the stadium as if it was like the Carifta games, as if it was whatever. That way, you're trying to simulate the same atmosphere. You're simulating the pressure. You're simulating the competition. You're simulating the
event.
The event. So you have the conditions. So that way. Okay, it's not, you don't have to wait till they get to these big stages and they drop in these 30 minutes because they got the adrenaline, and they could simulate the adrenaline as if they were here. So that way they could have more an accurate time.
You can. We've had, I guess COVID changed a lot, but we usually have a national event where we'd have games at the stadium, track games at the stadium. I think at one time we used to have bocce nationals and track nationals at the same time, and then we just catered down to track nationals, and then all of our teams from Bahama and Abaco and Eleuthera and Exuma would come, and they would run together. We'd have support come out from parents. Anybody. Was always open to the public. That could help, but I think for us too, it's simulating the environment. So you're now traveling 8-hour flights, 9-hour flights. You're in a new country. You have to get acclimatized to the jet lag. It's crazy. You got a time difference. Food going. I know we were in Germany and it was just like light finger foods, and the kids for breakfast like wet grits. I want eggs. I mean, certain things were available, and so it's a lot. It's just not simulating it here, but getting used to the environment that you're in, what amenities you're going to have, because there are some places, I'm not going to call any names, that it was not the best. Okay. So lack of sleep, being uncomfortable, being a 6'5" athlete in a twin size bed, no.
I hate that when happens.
I can't see it. It just depends. It helps, so it'll be more accurate timing. But I think Special Olympics is kind of pushing in a new direction. So I think that needs to be tweaked overall. They said that they're going to work with us, especially our Caribbean nations. But we'll see how that goes.
I think this also goes back to the episode. What was that? The track athlete. Tomorrow, yeah. When we talked about kind of practicing how you play, because you even mentioned like some of the equipment that they'd use, like they'd get. I'm assuming because of the sponsors that you guys have, because you are a nonprofit. So to get to Berlin, I'm assuming like your sponsors would have been a part of that. So you would get the equipment that you need for the games. But do they have like similar equipment when they're training?
So training here is based on whatever grounds we have available. So right now we train at the Stapleton School. And right now in this season, we just have basketball and bocce going on. We haven't been invited to like an international basketball competition, but right now we're training at the Stapleton School ground. So that's an outdoor court. If we had preparing for a basketball tournament, we'd have to know whether we're going to be playing indoor or outdoors, and that would make a big difference. Yeah. And then you'd have to look at sponsorship as well, because that means you have to find the right training sneakers, mouth guards, and then the type of ball that you're playing. Are you going to be 3-on-3, or is it going to be a 5-person team on the court, etc.? Are they going to be playing half court? Are they going to be playing full court? Like, what size is the rim? These are things that I didn't know. How tall the rim is. I like sports, but I didn't figure it was like that technical.
Yeah.
And then when you get in and you learn the logistics of the game, I was like, oh really? Like, oh, I didn't know. That's what all those lines are for.
That is very simple.
So it just depends. It just depends. Like even from the sport that I'm familiar with, inside out, bocce. You can play bocce on sand. You can play bocce on grass. You can play bocce on artificial turf. So, and depending on which surface you play on, your strategy has to be different. If you're playing on artificial turf, it's kind of like a medium. If you play on sand, depending on if it's tougher. If it's tougher. But if you have sand on top of concrete, then that's a fast ball. Versus sand that you just drop and it doesn't roll. Or if you're playing on a grass surface, you have to account for the divots in the grass or the little holes or the slope, because that's going to make a difference in how you play. It's really technical. Yeah. it's really technical. So do I throw a fast ball or do I throw a softball? I mean, the balls are heavy. They're almost, they're like short put kind of feel to them. And do I lob it? Or do I throw it, like gently throw it? Or do I just kind of target it?
What do you feel like is the best surface to play on?
Bocce?
Yeah.
It depends. It's a strategic game. So if I'm a person...
What's your preference?
Yeah.
My preference? It depends on the day.
All right.
I do not like fast surfaces. Personally, for me, I don't have the best hand-eye coordination, so I'm gonna need like a in between. So like a turf or
we
grass.
We don't have much turf here.
You have turf here.
Yeah, soccer stadium, soccer field. Sorry,
you could use the soccer field. I think Bahama Blue has the mini blue, like the golf court. They have a bocce. They have bocce there as well. So if you guys ever go there, you can play bocce. But we play. I prefer grass. But you just have to know your area.
Yeah.
You have to know your area.
You would be pretty good at golf.
Not really.
Because that's what I'm thinking. Like all the divots and everything. Like I'm just saying, like y'all playing golf.
Yeah.
It's almost definitely.
A swing versus underhand.
Yeah, because I'm throwing underhand versus swing.
Maybe get a softball.
Softball.
Maybe a pitcher.
Pitch. I just said no hand-eye coordination.
Yeah, you just go from your hand to someone else.
Okay.
So how do you think you can bridge the gap though? Because like understanding now, like all that goes into it, plus the divisioning that has to go on. Like how do you bridge the gap between what's gonna happen in a competition versus like what y'all are able to simulate in practice? Like what do you think that Special Olympics needs to get there to bridge that gap to make it so you don't have that kind of overperforming thing?
I think it's just more training opportunities. Right now, we only train once a week, and then training in different environments. I feel that most of our coaches are volunteers. Most of our coaches at this point now are like retired persons and have been around or know the sports. I think if we get more quote unquote professionals or persons that are actually in sports interested in coaching, it doesn't necessarily mean that they need to come out on a Saturday, but can say, hey, I coach basketball on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 5:00. Do you have anybody that's interested from your organization? They can join my practice. I think having those opportunities may help to bridge the gap as well. Another caveat to Special Olympics that started has been like our unified competition. So unified means that you have Special Olympics has an opportunity where persons without disabilities are able to compete with persons with disabilities. So for the past 5 years or so, I could be off by 2 years, but for the past 5 years or so, our soccer program has been unified. So we've been playing 5-a-side and 7-a-side with persons without disabilities. So, and our soccer program was a merging of programs from both Grand Bahama and New Providence. So we've had persons from, I know, Queens College girls soccer program, and some of the Pro Bishop Michael Eldon in Grand Bahama, and what's the other school? Probably St. Paul's College, that they have worked with our special athletes and they've been in, I guess, different leagues and they've been playing. So opportunities like that help to bridge that gap, because it's not just, okay, you're coming to me and, okay, I know basketball because I'm reading the manual and I can tell you what to do, but an actual basketball coach and you're working with him versus you're going to come to me on Saturdays and I'm going to make sure you do your drills and you warm up and you exercise, and based on Special Olympics rule, based on what the manuals tell me, I'm going to make sure that you hit those benchmarks. But now you're with a coach who has a national team or has a team. I think that could make a difference, because we're not like interrupting your day. We're just adding one more player.
Yeah. All goes back to exposure.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot to take in. Right?
I did not expect it to be this much, though, in all honesty. But what is the schedule like? So if there are people that's out there that's interested in helping or just lending some time to Special Olympics, what are the times? And I know you mentioned Stapleton School, like where can they come and volunteer?
Okay, so like I said, this season we have 2 sports going on, and bocce and a basketball. It's at Stapleton School on Dolphin Drive. The training sessions are on Saturday from 9 to 11. You can reach out to us on social media. We have Facebook, Instagram, where we have WhatsApp, and then we have a website, All Special Olympics Bahamas. You could also contact us at 356-2433. That's our office to get any more information. And if you are willing to volunteer, I think online there are volunteer registration forms. If you know somebody with intellectual disabilities that wants to be a part of the program, all of the forms are online as well. For volunteers, there are online registration forms, so all of the information is there. But you could always reach out to us on social media and we can always get the information to you.
You okay with?
Hey. I live with this gal and I realized this be doing all this way.
Yeah, you think you would have been a lot less stressed if you didn't take the kicker? What?
Yeah.
You still on this kicker, bro?
And the funny thing is, he has volunteered at some of our events, and I don't understand why. Like, he doesn't
Yeah, tell
get
us
it.
about your experience, sir.
It's interesting though, because when you go to volunteer with Special, because as she mentioned, I've done it a few times. I've done it with basketball. I suck at basketball, but it was just there to give them, like she said, the unified as and having more bodies for them to play with. And then with the bocce, and I got destroyed by the bocce team, because that sport is very stressful. It is fun, it is brilliant, but to her point, like the Special Olympic athletes are all legitimate athletes in that sport and the discipline. So I think it is important to get people out there to, as Clara mentioned, get that exposure to see what's out there And then speaking of them being actual athletes, like from Berlin, did we get any medals? I know we had some overqualifications happen, but did we come back home with anything?
Yeah. So I had the smallest team ever in Berlin. It was because we don't control quota. So we would have submitted, when it comes to games, we have to submit what possibilities we can have. So we would submit for like a basketball team or 6-person track team. And they would come back to us and say, nope, we can't give you bowling. We can't give you this. We can't give you that.
Special Olympics?
Mm-hmm. Special Olympics International. When it comes to games, it's a lot that goes around. A lot that goes into it that's behind the scenes, and I've been behind the scenes.
Because they don't have other teams joining, or is that because of?
I mean, it's because of the GOC, the Games Organizing Committee. So Special Olympics is worldwide. So for the North America, we're in the North America region, so that contains Canada and the US and the Caribbean. So for the North American region, they would say North America gets 1,500 slots. Out of the 1,500 slots, I'm going to give you 20 for bocce, 300 for track. Yeah. And they're going to specify. But what they also do is they also specify which gender and which levels. So like for swimming, not by country. Okay. They do it by region. Yeah. And then by region, it kind of breaks down into who gets what. Yeah. I asked if I can have a 6-person athletics team. I wanted 4 males, 2 females, and they came back and told me 2 males, 2 females, and then they're telling me level 2 category for males and level 3 category for females. And I'm like, I don't have a female that runs the 800 meter. And I don't have a female that runs a 1,500 meter. But you're telling me, and that's category 3. They'll tell you like what level of events you can participate in. Yeah. And then category 2 would be like the sprints. And I'm like, I have 3 dudes. I have 3 males that could do.
Yeah, how do you break that down?
The sprints, and I got 1 female who could do a 200. That's in my program right now. That's all I have. Can you accommodate me with this quota? So for my track team, I had 4 athletes, 3 males, 1 female. But that's been a bartering system back and forth. You go back, I don't have that.
So why
they give you a swimmer and they're like, open water swim. Open water swim? No. 50 free, 50 back. That's what I got.
Is there a reason they made the system that way?
No, it's always been like that. It's just that when, I guess, based on the region and what facilities they have available all of that stuff. And then you look at the logistics of how many persons you want in an event, then they'll come back. And what you'll do is you'll swap, because we'd have like the Strongs Bermuda, they have like Cayman Islands, best Special Olympics swimmers I've ever come across. Cayman Islands has an awesome swim program. So I'll talk with my friend from Cayman. You need an open water swim? Yeah, I can take that from you. Who you got? You got bocce? I give you my open water swim if you give me a 2 bocce. Let's work that out. Yeah. And then
I'll give you my kick if you give me a first round.
I give a first round pick.
For the kicker?
Yeah.
All right.
He ain't doing that.
So let's work that out. Let's send that to headquarters. Let's send that to SONA, first of all, North America region. Find out if the swap is okay. It's all within our region. Find out if the swap is okay. If they approve it, fine. That's what it is. Oh, wow. And then you go into registration. So preparation for games starts basically the minute one ends. So Berlin was 2020, it was this year. I've been preparing from Berlin from 2019, the minute we came back from Abu Dhabi. So when people hear, oh, we going to Berlin, and I'm just like, he knows, oh, you going to Berlin, you excited? No.
I'd be in preparing for this.
So stressed.
Like I've been stressed out from 2019 and then coming down towards it because it's all volunteer. Most places in Special Olympics is your job. Mm-hmm. Persons get paid to do what I do. And I have multiple roles. So I'm there and they're like, oh, we have a meeting at 1:00. Like,
you
1:00? I work. Like, when am I going to get in that meeting? Or there's like, oh, we're going to have a webinar on this. And I'm like, it's 10:30 in the morning. I teach children. So it's very hard. So I've been a year out, they start with the before they start with the webinar. So first you're in a webinar once a month. So you can kind of plan for that. Then you're in a webinar every week. And then they want you to come out to the test site. And then they want you to say this and that. And it's crazy.
Burnout is that.
It's burnout. And then you get here and you have a whole wonderful experience. So it's the same theatrics, and you have guest persons. I think Dirk Nowinski was there, and I was like, he looks familiar. And they was like, it's Dirk. I'm like, the basketball player. I was like, oh, okay. And I'm like, no. And then persons are telling me stuff, saying, but it's in German. I don't know what's going on. And I'm in the back, like, translate. Like,
wow.
German's not this good. But you see these things. So they have fireworks and big to do, and then you wait for the trains and the bus and however you get back, and then the next day you just rule in a competition. Like, it's crazy. Nothing's different from a regular Olympics that you see on TV and Special Olympics. They have the same exact experience.
Okay.
And what they have built into the program as well is you have a little bit of cultural exchange. So we get to learn a little bit about the culture for a few days before games actually start.
That's good.
So what was your favorite location so far?
My favorite location, amenities wise, I think the Abu Dhabi / Dubai in 2019
Makes sense.
was one of the better locations in terms of just amenities. We stayed in hotels. Yeah, we didn't have as much issues. The athletes got to experience a lot. So location, Dubai, Abu Dhabi and Dubai. I think I had a better social, I think the athletes had a better social experience in Berlin in terms of being with other athletes, connecting with persons, connecting with the culture. I think that would have been a better experience for most of our athletes there. Now, do you want to know the worst place?
Yeah, sure.
Most of my athletes would say Greece.
I think I know why.
Most of our athletes would say Greece. No.
No, I was about to say they be robbing.
Well,
They be robbing over there. They're kind of tight to me.
yeah. So Greece, I have a Greece story. I was not with the team while I was in Greece. I worked with Special Olympics International, but I know they had their accommodations weren't the best. And I know when I was in Latin America games in Puerto Rico, I had a similar experience. So if I can compare my Greece accommodations with my Puerto Rico accommodations, then I would say they're all in the same boat.
Oh, wow.
And then, I got robbed in Athens as well.
I didn't try to speak that into existence.
So that's why I can say. That's why I can say, yeah, they do. But while we were in Athens, that was when they were having like the riots, and was it they were coming out of the Euro. Well, anyway, they had the riots there in Athens, so all of that was going on at the same time as the games, trying to bring awareness. Like, y'all have this international thing here. When we having issues, we going into a recession, and y'all know, yeah.
Oh, wow.
That's a lot.
That's why they run.
No. I was on a train. On a subway. And it was just packed. And you know that you're going to get pickpocketed.
Yeah.
Locks on my bag to the front, and it's just one portion of my bag. Like, I did not lock, and that was the part that was in a train, and I'm jammed in like sardine, and people pushing and doing this.
Was just there like feeling up your whole body.
When I looked to go and take a picture, because I was in Stigmata Square, and I'm like, camera gone, because we had cameras back then, like real ones.
Yeah.
With the SD cards, camera, and then my iPod, you know, the big iPod. Because
It's in the bag?
it was in a bag.
You had a backpack on?
Backpack was to the front, and the one portion that I didn't have my lock on was
Your
still
backpack was on the front?
in the front of me.
And
But I'm packed like sardines. Like, I don't know if you get
see
it.
someone, like, they take a whole iPod and...
Yeah. So the iPad that now I guess we would call the external drive, that iPad, it was like 256 gigs then.
Oh, that's one of the fat ones.
Of course. iPad Classic.
So I used to get you. So you tell them that you are your bag on the front.
Uh-huh.
And they take out the front part.
Because it was in
You
the
was in-
front
you
pocket.
was
It
in
was
the
like
train.
I was in a train.
Yeah, okay, that make,
I'm in a
that
train.
make more
I'm
sense.
charmed like sardines. Like somebody literally on the front of me like this.
Yeah.
And we're doing this. So in one of those rocking moments,
I understand what you're saying. I understand exactly what you're saying. I with you on that. But like if you've been on some of these like European trains, like in certain instances, yeah. Like,
yeah, you don't know. Like somebody on top of me like this.
Like how they show like the New York subways and like the movies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Is slightly worse than that in actuality.
They probably did like at an angle.
And they all holding on and
Yeah.
everybody's swinging. And I get out to snap a picture because I was like, oh, Stigmata Square. And I'm like, hold on, y'all. My camera missing. Like,
Wow.
when did it go? Did it go one stop ago? Did it go 2 stops ago? Like, it was 6 stops.
Spain with Senior Dean in Costa Rica. And
Did you go to QC?
Yeah. It was like put the bag in front, and like when you put the bag in front,
Yeah, hug it.
Yeah.
but
Oh, I'm short.
No, it wasn't that. I was to the front, but it was like the bottom pocket. So it wasn't like a top pocket. And I think I didn't lock.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess to kind of. Sorry that you got robbed, first and foremost. But we're gonna bring it home and bring it to a close. What's one thing that you think that you need to say to anyone that's watching this for Special Olympics on behalf of Special Olympics Bahamas?
Thank you and continue to support us. I think support is what we need, whether it's financially, physically, or just being someone to support us by sharing any of our social media pages. Support. Thank you.
All right.
Last question.
Yeah, last question. You know, tradition. But yeah, what's one thing you're fanatical about?
One thing I'm fanatical about. Oh, it doesn't have to be sports wise.
Nope, could be anything. You can say it louder though. People like
Harry Potter.
Yeah, man.
Okay.
I know about Harry Potter.
I'm a Harry Potter fan. Like, I'm the biggest. I don't know if I'm the biggest. I'm not the biggest Harry Potter fan, but I love Harry Potter. Okay? I'm just waiting for Hedwig's theme to drop. I just waiting to switch my ringtone. It ain't October yet. Fall comes and it's Harry Potter.
Have you been to Universal? That was Universal.
Yes, of course. Both.
You have a wand?
No, I haven't had a wand.
Now you got to get a wand now. See?
You don't want no one. You know true.
I haven't picked the right. The one has to choose you. I went into the store and there was nothing that came on and was like, oh,
No,
this
you're
is your
custom.
wand.
I'm pretty sure Customs got to stop that or something.
You sure they know?
I don't know.
That'll be in your box.
So-
It'll be there.
For real though.
So yes, I love Harry Potter.
What house are you?
Hufflepuff.
Look at his face. No, I mean, anybody is killing stuff, man.
I thought she was thinking about it.
Anybody is dangerous, okay?
I thought she was thinking about it. I came and that roll off right. She was like,
Her
she
face
was
is like,
expecting
wait, why she answered us so quick?
No. I know everybody's giving me like the side. Hufflepuff? Like, what y'all is being into? Mm-mm. It fits personality wise, everything.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Have you watched Fantastic Beasts though?
Don't worry, just saying the same.
You serious?
I watch part of like movies, but I've not. What I want to do is like I want to sit down
That's what I
from
want to do.
And
and watch from the beginning to that because I
Yeah.
caught it when the hype was high, and if hype is high, I'm not gonna do it.
You have a
Especially
problem.
right late to the hype.
yeah.
Because like people's like, oh, you gotta watch this. Okay,
He's-
That was me with Game
He's
of
like
Thrones.
somebody I know that
Yeah.
has
I
never
never
watched the
watched Game of
Titanic.
I'm never going to watch it.
Yeah, I haven't watched Game of Thrones either. Like every time I come home, y'all is watching. And I just be like, what happening? Y'all is
I
telling me
watch
this is
Game of
me.
Thrones. I watch Bird Box. I watch.
I watched
I didn't watch
Squid
I didn't watch
Games.
Squid Games either.
I watched Good.
Cause like,
Oh, yeah, no.
I watched Breaking Bad.
No, I started to, but I was like, this ain't. Y'all was like, y'all hyped this up too much.
No.
I understand.
Breaking Bad
though.
is
I the same way. I have never watched.
Episode 2 on Ozark.
Yeah,
I've never watched.
So y'all watch Shameless? Anybody watch Shameless?
Oh, sorry.
I've never watched a Pirates of the Caribbean movie from start to finish.
I don't believe y'all.
Like, I need the system.
No Lord
I don't
of the
believe
Rings. No Star Wars.
It's impossible to watch
that
a
was
whole Lord of the Rings.
before-
First of all,
That was
it's impossible.
with Star Wars and Lord of the Rings.
It was like Star Wars. I played Star Wars games,
I have no.
but I've not even like watched it. But it's like, you
I
know,
had like half a book in primary school.
no, that's gonna be my challenge. That's gonna be my challenge.
Tatooine. I was like, what?
Well, we don't talk about.
You know, tomorrow's October.
It's 12 movies. No,
No, it's
No.
not. No, it's just the last one
It
was
was like
two
part 1
part.
and part 2.
Yeah.
It's like I watched all the Twilight movies. I watched.
Yeah, I
Hold on. Time out.
What y'all talking about?
Good, so
So what
you're
are
all
y'all-
call up.
This is what anime.
What are y'all thoughts on Twilight then?
First guy.
Okay, thank you. He loves it.
I was on a Twilight fence for a while until I finally watched it. And I was like, oh, this is a love story.
It's a sex story. That man want like them churning. Eh?
Oh, Lord, I didn't know that was coming.
Really?
To be fair, you have a point.
But that's sick, bro.
Cause he like 600 years old.
Yeah, I go in print. I say, bro, this what y'all like?
Oh, I
And I
didn't
think
know.
I was
On the
dating-
end.
I was dating a big
Yeah,
Twilight
Jacob, I
man
know.
fan. I said,
Yeah.
bro, what kind of sickness?
That's what I thought he was talking about.
No, yeah, it's Jacob.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, you mean with the daughter?
Yeah, you were printing,
Yeah.
taking them daughter. I say, bro, what?
That's
What
kind
kind
of
of
sick.
sickness
No,
is
it ain't
it?
kind of. It is.
I think this is where we need to cut this episode.
Yeah, we'll continue this. We'll continue this behind the scenes. But thank you for watching another Fanatic Islanders episode. Thank you for watching the Sandbar. Thank you for coming. Thank you for sharing
Thanks for
your insight.
having me.
Why have you not bring us on?
I just forget.
You probably wouldn't forget if you didn't take the
Don't
kick
wish
off.
that on him. Don't wish that on him, bro.
It's free, you know. This is free day. But other than that, I don't have to tell y'all like, comment, and subscribe because y'all already have done that at this point in the episode.
Uh-oh.
But you know, YouTube has tell us half of y'all who watch these episodes will not subscribe. So you know, hit that subscribe button if you made it to the end. Let us know what you think. Leave your comments.
We got statistics now.
We do have we'll be back next week. Another episode. Fanatic Islanders. Y'all be good. Y'all be blessed. Peace.
Go watch Gremlins. It's a Christmas movie.